We're live streaming on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook. Thank you for following Cali BBQ Media. We do these rising tide calls every Wednesday, every Friday. We've been doing it for 4 years, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. London time, wherever you are in the world. If you are in restaurants, if you're in hospitality, if you're a storyteller, if you're in sales, if you're in marketing, this is your community. We are grateful. We've got an packed show today. Very excited. I have a co-host, Laura Wilbur, who is part of our Rising Tide community. She's been showing up consistently on these calls. She is going to be joining us from Denova, and she's going to share some of her best kept secrets, best kept tips on how to show up at trade shows. We've got a lot of industry trade shows. This is trade show season. So we're really excited for today's episode. We also have Mark Hatch. He is the VP of Trade Relations. I'm excited to have him on the show. Let's go ahead and bring Laura and Mark up on stage, and then we will, if you're in the green room, thank you guys for being here. If you're listening to this and this is a recording, we want you to join the live show. So please follow Cali BBQ Media on YouTube. You can join this show. This is how we all rise as a community. We learn from each other. We share secrets. Laura, welcome to the stage. Take 60 seconds. Who are you? What are you building? And let's get into trade show tips. And where are you going to be showing up this year in trade shows? Go for it.
Okay, excellent. Hi, I'm Laura Wilbur, and I believe showing up is 80% of success. And when we show up consistently, we're unstoppable. So I'm in the business of showing up for my restaurant clients and bringing friends. And by friends, I mean 21 million expense account diners looking for great restaurants to dine in at, do carry out from, order catering direct from, and in some cases, book private events. And I'm just building more great restaurants for our corporate clients to dine at this year. Very excited about today's topic, trade shows, which are my absolute favorite way to connect with the restaurant leaders that I need to meet with to be successful in my business and make those connections with my corporate clients with the restaurant leaders.
Amazing. What high level, what shows are you going to be at? And give us some quick tips before we introduce Mark. Mark, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Hi, Mark.
Sorry, guys, a little bit late. I thought it started at 10 Pacific time, not 9:50. So my bad.
Oh, not
No,
at
you're
all.
all
You're
good.
here. You're on time.
All that matters is showing up in this community.
Absolutely. Yes, you are right. So yes, my top conferences I'll be attending.
There's no.
Oh, okay. So you asked my top conferences I'm attending.
Yep.
Restaurant Leadership Conference, which is where I first met Mark Hatch. I'm planning to attend Create Conference in Nashville again, and the Restaurant Finance and Development Conference in November is one of my favorites as well.
Amazing. Give us some quick tips.
Okay, quick tips. You got to be mindful, just like everything else, and you got to show up. And it's not easy to do. And I understand that a lot of people don't have the budget to attend these trade shows because the big ones are not cheap, especially if you're a vendor. If you're an operator, that's different. And Mark can touch on that because he works a lot with the operators. But if you're a vendor like me who wants to meet with the restaurants, it is quite a significant investment to attend the big shows. I believe it's well worth it. So make sure that you're budgeting for that. And so be mindful. There's a pre, a during, and a post. So Shawn, do you want me to get right into all of the tips now, or should we pass it on? Okay, Shawn, you're frozen in my screen.
Either that or he's just very still.
Yes, he's being stoic.
He's
okay. So while we wait for Shawn to come back, I'll just expand a little bit again on my strategy, which is have your goal in mind in the pre. Shawn, are you back with us? Okay, good.
I'm back. We're trying to break Riverside. For those, we switched from Clubhouse to LinkedIn audio. Now we're on Riverside, and because we have so many community members that want to get involved in this conversation, I think Riverside's having trouble keeping up. But go ahead, Laura. Thank you.
Okay, yes. So I was saying that you got to have absolutely a goal in mind, and you got to have a strategy for pre-conference, during the conference, and after the conference. And to keep it simple, attend the conferences where the people that you need to meet are going to be speaking to start. So, pre conference, you need to really take a look at the speaker list. You need to get your schedule together and set calendar reminders for yourself to actually show up at at their talks and their panels. Arrive early, sit in the front row if you can. Network with the people that are attending that session before and after. Make sure that you introduce yourself if you can with the speakers afterwards, and make sure that you have a really concise um, way to introduce yourself. You are absolutely not going to be pitching anything at the conferences. This is truly just a chance to make that warm connection and support these leaders in the message that they want to get out. So that's the pre. The other part of that is in advance, follow these leaders that you want to meet with on LinkedIn, get an understanding of what's important to them, amplify their message by liking and commenting on their content. If you are able to reach out in advance, and I'm thinking like, think of your top 5 people that you want to meet at the show. If you're able to reach out to them in advance and let them know you'll be at the show and you're excited for their session and you look forward to meeting them if possible. I don't even try to set a firm time because the time at a conference is so fluid, and the idea is networking and kind of bumping into people and having a chance to just see who shows up and who you get introduced to. So by trying to set a firm time, it just creates extra stress for everybody. So I try to avoid that. But a great way to be able to have kind of a firm meeting place is if either you yourself and your company set up some sort of happy hour or event during the event on property, or if you're really lucky, one of your operator friends will invite you to some other sort of VIP or happy hour event, and they will introduce you. And that is the absolute biggest win that you could have if you're someone who wants to meet with the who's who in the restaurant biz. So that's the pre. During, I touched on the importance again of being mindful about attending the sessions of the people that you want to meet with, supporting them, um, and just don't spend time with the people that you already know and your own team. I see a lot of people doing that. And a great show for me is if I hardly see any of my colleagues, because, you know, they're not buying anything from me, right? If
Great.
so don't fall into that comfort trap of just walking around with your own colleagues. Make some new friends.
Be
Go
uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable. Don't roll with the same group. Great tip.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And that, and then post event follow up. I know a lot of these operators get a lot of follow ups. It's tough to be a vendor and try to get time or try to make a connection via email. It's really difficult. So just don't get discouraged if you don't hear back. I've met people at conferences, operators who said, I'm so interested in this. Here's my mobile phone number. Please call me. Please set up a meeting with me. And then I've tried maybe 5 times to do that. I've even gotten them on the phone saying, let's set up the meeting. And then they just get so busy that it doesn't happen. So this is an absolute long game as far as attracting business, as opposed to chasing it. We talk a lot about that. And so just don't get discouraged. Keep showing up. Keep showing up at the same conferences year after year. Um, Keep learning. Go into it with a beginner's mind and with an idea of being an ongoing learner.
It's amazing. What a way to start off the show. You guys, if you're watching, please reshare on LinkedIn. We want more people to join these calls, and we know that you are waiting. We want to introduce Mark Hatch. He is the VP of Trade Relations and Events at Informa. Mark, we appreciate your time. Can you high level for us tips for trade shows? How can we make the most of our experience showing up when we actually get out of our restaurants and get a chance to meet together as a community?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Shawn and Laura. First of all, Laura is an expert. I really could just say amen to everything that she said, and this would be well worth your time for listening in on this podcast. So she nailed it. I couldn't agree more with all those things that she said. So Mark Hatch with Informa. If you're not familiar with Informa, Informa is a business intelligence company, but it's also one of the largest events companies in the world. About 12,000 employees, publicly traded on the London Stock Exchange, and it covers a bunch of different industries. The one that I specialize in, have been focusing on for the last 10 years in my particular role, is the restaurant side of the business. And so that's mainly Restaurant Leadership Conference, which is in Phoenix in April. That's FS Tech, our big food service technology event. Um, and that's in Orlando in September. And then we have Create and the NRA show, and then there's other events that are a little bit smaller. And my role for the last 10 years basically has been to create new events, to take the ones that we have and make them better. So look at kind of what we're doing good, but then know that there's still ways to improve. And then recently I created the Nest. It's a group of about 300 C-suite executives that come together to share ideas and to ultimately find solutions collectively. So yeah, I think on the operator side, there's a few different things that are just essential to having a good experience when you attend an event. If you're a restaurant leader, first off, plan ahead. You want to do your prep, know what the event's all about, know exactly what the agenda is. Go into the event knowing that, hey, I have these pain points, and essentially I'm trying to find solutions to these pain points. And so, from that, I think that you're going to plan out your conference experience accordingly, and you're going to look at the specific areas that they're touching in the breakout sessions or in general session. And then it's really important. It's imperative that you look at who are the attendees, both on the supplier side and on the operator side. And you want to try to, I think it's really important. You want to try to go into the event having appointments set up and just with an initiative and goals. And I think it's just as important to set up appointments with operators to kind of pick the brain and see what they're doing if you're on the operator side, but then also have an open mind and go into the conference with some meetings with supplier partners. I will say that on the operator side, there's a little bit of hesitancy sometimes to have an open mind and to kind of put themselves out there and engaging.
No.
Oh no, we lost Mark. There we go.
Oh, there you are.
You guys, are we good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. You can't connect with every single person, but I think that it's so important to work the marketplace, to engage with various supplier partners. They're paying a lot of money to be there and to participate, and you're going to come away with really great connections, and you're going to find a diamond in the rough. You're going to find innovative solutions in engaging with these individuals. So those are the main things. Is just be prepared, know exactly who's speaking, who's attending, go in with an open mind, engage with these supplier partners, but just go with a focus, go with specific initiatives that you're looking to find solutions towards.
That's amazing. Thank you, Mark, and welcome everybody on stage. We're going to try to get to as many people as we can. Rising Tide, you guys are showing up in a big way today. Let's welcome some new community members. Audrey Hogan, Time Forge, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. Can you take 60 seconds? Who are you? What are you building? And what are your tips for trade shows or questions for Mark or Laura?
Really quick before we get started, can everyone please check and make sure your mics are muted? Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And anybody in the community, please interrupt at any time to help me moderate. We're stretching the limits of Riverside, so thank you, Riverside, for holding it down for the community for now. Audrey, go ahead.
Yeah, and apologies in advance if it sounds like there's crying children in the background. The wind is actually blowing at 90 miles an hour right now here. Wow. It is insane.
We never have to apologize for crying children in this community. We have lots of family members on these calls. So when we first started on Clubhouse, Troy Hooper, he would always have his son in the background, and it's a special part of the community. So don't ever apologize for that. It's all good.
my crying children is just ghost children of the wind right now. So it's insane.
Oh, where
Yeah.
are you,
There you
Audrey?
West Texas. Yeah. We're used to
Okay.
wind. This is wild though. So I'm with Time Forge. We do workforce management software, and I do a lot of trade shows. I'm on the road a lot. And we serve restaurants, but we also serve other shift work verticals. And so I don't just do hospitality trade shows. I do a lot of different vertical trade shows. And so I was really excited that this was a topic that you picked, Shawn. It's fantastic.
Laura picked it. That was all Laura.
Good job, Laura. Fantastic.
And anybody ever wants to pick, we're always open to new topics for these calls. So thank you. I'm happy that you're here. Go for it.
Thanks. Yeah. And we're a startup. So we tend to get a little bit scrappy and have some guerrilla tactics, if you will, at trade shows. So I don't want to reiterate too much that Laura said. I agree with absolutely everything from Laura and Mark, but I think there's a couple of kind of scrappy things, especially for startups or smaller businesses. The reality is you can't attend every trade show. You just can't. Especially in the restaurant vertical, they're outrageously expensive for smaller companies. They're prohibitively expensive to be able to go to all of them. And so I think for vendors who are trying to get more of a presence at trade shows, it's really important to focus on which trade shows you're going to have the best impact at and make sure you're maximizing it. Whether you don't have the time and bandwidth to attend every trade show, or you don't have the budget, those are realities of working in this industry. And I think some of the big tips are if you can figure out which trade shows your customers are going to, that's a really good indicator that you're going to have good prospects at that show. And so you should double down and make sure if you're going to show up big, right? Show up with energy. Don't stand at the booth staring off into the distance, or even worse, never sit down in the booth. I mean, you do that and you're communicating to everyone who walks by that you either don't want to be there or you don't have the energy to even talk to them. And that's a problem. So make sure you've got the right people going to the show, the high energy folks, people who love working in the hospitality business, who love people. That's pretty core, because if it's not authentic, everyone who walks by your booth is going to feel it. And so that's my biggest tip, is just go all out, show up, get guerrilla. You don't have traffic at the show. That doesn't mean it's a bad show. It means that you need to work with what you've got. Go put up flyers in the bathroom stalls if you have to, like drive some traffic. That's on you. That's not on the show organizers.
That was amazing. Energy is everything. How you show up and why you show up. People think that you can't tell, but when you go to a big trade show, you can tell who wants to be there and you can tell who doesn't want to be there immediately.
Yeah. So if you don't want to go, don't go. Go to a different one.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much, Audrey. Ben is in the house. Ben, it's been too long, man. Welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
Who are you? What are you building? And give us your tips or questions for Mark.
Yeah, no problem. My name is Ben Alkire. I have a heavy hand in all things media and content for a catering delivery service called Deliver That. Active across all 50 states, 5,000 plus zip codes, partners with brands like Olo, Easy Cater, Earl Enterprise, Wegmans, Taco Cabana, you name it. We're happy to help them and work with them in their last mile delivery piece of their restaurant business. I think for me, I do want to say what conference we will be active at. We'll be at RLC, Food on Demand, NRA, FS Tech. We're helping out with the catering workshop, a newer conference out in Denver. I think it's actually going to be in Nashville maybe this year. It's in a different location this year, but that's usually in October. So we're going to be at a ton of events this year. If you guys want to connect with my team, please let me know. I'm happy to make intros for you and meet along the road. In terms of conferences, I know Laura touched on a good bit in terms of kind of creating meetings and setting up timelines and not to make them concrete. For me, I just had kind of a two-piece question for that. One, what would you say is an appropriate timeline to reach out before the conference to make an introduction and to set plans, ask, hey, are you going to be in attendance? Assuming you don't have an attendee list, if you're going to be attending, usually they provide that, obviously. But what would you say is an appropriate timeline to reach out beforehand of the conference? Is that a week, 2 weeks, a month? And then from there, if you want to be creating content while at those conferences themselves, whether it's a podcast or whether it's a recording of their booth or something along those lines, I know you said making like a time window is kind of more respectable to everyone's fluid schedules in terms of things. But I guess in terms of my realm of things, I like to sit down and speak to people for maybe longer form interviews, do some man on the street stuff. So when I do want to create my own schedule and work within an exact time frame, having those fluid situations can become a little convoluted. So I guess being more specific to all creators, do you have any more specific tips for connecting with people at conferences?
Do you want me to take that, Shawn?
Yeah, go for it. He asked you.
Okay. And I'd like your feedback as well as far as creating content, because that's more of your realm at shows. I too love to have video and just, short, fun little video interviews using my smartphone. So I learned from Shawn about the importance of smartphone storytelling. We all have a media company in our hand at all times or in our pocket. And so that's a lot of why this community exists, is to give us all reps and practice getting comfortable talking on screen and to kind of get out of our own way and be able to tell our story. So back to your original question about how far in advance is the right amount prior to a show. For me personally, it's a week in advance, or even like a few days in advance, because everyone's schedule again is so fluid. They're getting invited to different things that are important to them with their friends and existing partners. So as a newer, relationship, I'm kind of a lot of times sort of respectfully understanding that I'm not going to necessarily be their top priority at this show. And I'm going to be fortunate if I just get a chance to shake their hand and learn from them when they're speaking. So I'd say at the first meeting, it's really more about making that connection and not having an ask, and just setting your expectations that if you get lucky and you get some time on video or get an appointment, that's a huge win. Jason Berkowitz, our friend over here, and I talk a lot about hitting singles instead of home runs, and the importance of what's a single at your first show, and celebrate that win and then build on that.
Amazing.
I
Great.
might add on to that too, Ben.
Please, Mark, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, and I align with what Laura was saying, but if you show up on day one and you're hustling and you seem like a likable guy, I'm sure you're engaging with everyone that you come in contact with. You could probably establish some rapport on day one, and then come later, day two, you bump into that person where you've already established that friendship, and you've been humanized. And then at that point, it'd be like an easier ask, say, hey, look, I want to sit down with you. I'm really intrigued with what you're doing. I'm impressed with your company and what you've brought to that company, and love to just kind of pick your brain about some things and take a half hour, 45 minutes. So I think I love it how people come into these events with just wanting to make friends and build that relationship, because after that everything else comes so much easier. So hustle on the first day, and then day 2 and 3, I think you can probably get what you need.
Amazing. Awesome.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Ben. Great question. Thanks for being here. Mandy Graziano on a Friday, one of our digital hospitality leaders. Mandy, are you able to unmute and give us some knowledge? Go for it.
Hi guys. Happy Friday. Nice to see you, Mark, Laura. Love this. This is my love language. So thanks for bringing this topic to the table. Mandy Graziano. I am a multi-business owner in the hospitality space. One side of my world, I book trade shows, conventions, and conferences and negotiate contracts for my clients. The other side of the business, I do a lot of coaching and training surrounding how to get the most out of a trade show, how to build the trade show, how to not be boring at a trade show, and actually how to convert business from a trade show. So I love everything we're talking about. And I just want to build on what Laura said about the pre, during, and after, because that is everything with the trade show. And I want to talk a little bit about the during. So if you are somebody that has a trade show, you want to really arm those people in the booth, like your staff, your salespeople, even your C-suite, how to operate in a trade show booth, right? It's obvious, like, don't be on your phone, don't be eating a sandwich. that sounds obvious, but you would be shocked how many times as a buyer I'm walking through and I'm like, I don't want to shake that person's hand. They're eating tuna fish. So just arm your staff dangerously of how to behave in a trade show booth. And it's not all about the stale french fries and the cheap wine anymore. Be super intentional and thoughtful about what goes on in your trade show booth. Like, is it a live podcast where you're interviewing thought leaders and people within the industry or customers? Like, are you giving them a couple minutes on the mic and are you showing that? Are you, the lights, camera, action actually draw people to there? Are you doing a demo? And then the other thing about the during is be memorable in the marketplace, right? There's a guy named Brian Aroni. I see him at every trade show. This guy wears a bow tie and he poses like this. Some people think it's a little weird, but I'll tell you what, people are coming up to him on the floor asking to pose, and he's posting that all over Instagram, LinkedIn. So like, think about how you present yourself, how you're acting, what energy you're bringing, what you're doing. So I could talk miles and miles about this, but I just want to build, Laura, on what you said about the during is really important. And then the last thing is, it's not always about those dinners and coffees and lunches. Sometimes it's about some sweat working, right? And I know Scott and I talked about this, Scott Turner and I talked about this, about like F&B numbers going down a little bit. It's because a lot of these new attendees, they're not drinking as much. They're not eating. People are being really thoughtful about their consumption. And so don't be afraid. And I know Troy did this with one of his events. Bring a pickleball tournament to your trade show floor, or do some sweat working, do a little lap, a walk around the thing. Have fun with it. Have some sound healing. Have a mindful moment. There's so many things you can bring. There you go. You got your pickleball. You got your pepper lunch pickleball. Who doesn't want to do that? So just think about how you're actually interacting. It doesn't always have to be about a meal. It can be about other ways to interact and sweat work as well.
Amazing. Thank you, Mandy. And it hasn't been said yet, but I will say it. Post on social media that you will be going to the trade show. You cannot overpost enough. Don't assume that because I posted today that I will be at the bar and restaurant show in Vegas and I will be at the Pizza Expo, that the person that I want to meet saw that post. I will post it again today. I will post it again tomorrow. I will ask the community on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on TikTok, who should I meet when I'm in Vegas? Who should my team be filming with? Some of the best leads come from social media. And I know this community knows this, but anybody that's listening to this content afterwards or listening to it now, I hope that resonates with you. And I hope you post not just before the event, but also while you're at the event. Take a cool picture. Hey, I'm here. This is what I hope to accomplish. Hey, I met Troy. Troy was the first. Troy and I actually, the day one, the first time I ever went to the Chicago National Restaurant Show, he was my buddy. And we navigated the floor of, the Super Bowl of restaurant shows together, looking at, hey, what should we look at? And, a lot of times if it is your first show, find somebody that might be new or find somebody that actually is a veteran that can show you, hey, this is the cool things that you should check out first day that you're there.
Yeah, Shawn, really quick on that. Oh, sorry,
Mandy. I want to add to what Shawn said real quick, because you saw Jason Berkowitz's head go, oh, really? It was Troy? Jason's everyone's buddy. I did an hour and a half with Jason. I did an hour and a half with Shawn.
Did Jason get jealous right there?
I think he was like, Shawn, what about me?
There's a tear.
My point is what Shawn just said is actually do an hour or an hour and a half with each person. Hey, Jason, let's catch up after lunch and walk, because we're all walking the entire floor all day, at least for 1 or 2 days. So, Shawn, I asked Shawn, he'll tell you, Shawn sends me the production schedule. So I know what booth he's in at what time. And then I go, well, you don't have anything between this time and this time. Let's walk and see who we meet and greet, and let's go. And I've gone to Shawn. I've walked into booths with Shawn where he's just walks into a booth and cold sells Cambro on they need content about Cambro and that kind of thing. So
that would never happen, Troy.
Yeah, so
it doesn't sound like me.
But whatever you're looking for, whatever you're trying to accomplish, utilize not just this network, but whatever network you have. Affiliation equals sales. Period. People get stuff by knowing other people. And if I'm walking around with somebody, they know a lot of people I don't know, and I know a lot of people they don't know. And when somebody walks up and says, hey, Troy, blah, blah, blah. Hey, by the way, this is so-and-so. Oh yeah, what's your business? What do you do? Oh, wow, really cool. I know somebody just asked me about that. Can I introduce you? Give me your card. Let me introduce, that's how it's supposed to work. That's what a show is for. You're not supposed to just be there to buy things or sell things. It's supposed to make connections. So anyway, Shawn, that was brilliant to bring that up because that's a big unlock.
Those on the supplier side too, coming into an event, you probably all have operator customers, and if you can find a few of them, they're at the event. That's a really easy ask. Like, hey, let's just hang out for a little bit, and they're going to be your biggest advocates too. And it doesn't come across as salesy because they're that kind of non-biased opinion because they're on the operator side. So, love what Troy was saying. Love all the comments. But yeah, tap into your current customers, and they're going to be the ones that sell your product.
Hey, Mark, let me add to that. Ask first. Yes, I say this. Make sure the customers you have at the show are happy with you.
That's good advice. Before we go on camera to do a testimonial.
Don't come. I'm in a group of 10 people. Don't come stand next to me and have me introduce you to those 10 people that are not your customers, and have me co-sign for you. I might not be super thrilled if we haven't even engaged yet, or we're just in development together, or we're in that honeymoon phase or that test phase. It happened to me. Oh shit, I forgot my story. Who was it? I'll think of it. I was telling that part of it and I forgot. But yeah. It's happened to me where somebody used me as a referral. Oh, I remember. Somebody introduced me. They knew that I knew one of their customers. They said, hey, you know this guy, right? And I go, yeah, I know him really well. Well, he's really happy with us. You should go talk to him. I know if you guys know each other, then his word will mean something to you. And I call him up and swear to God, he goes, they don't know it yet, but I'm quitting them in 2 weeks. I'm very unhappy with them. So their number one referral, their guy who they were putting on the pedestal, like, go talk to this guy, he's super happy, was quitting them. How does that happen? That means they weren't checking in. They didn't have a pulse on that relationship. So I'm just saying, please make sure before, just ask for that cosign first and say, hey, can I link up with you at the after hours party? Or, hey, I see we're both going to be at Helen Lau's thing. I really need to meet some new people. Don't be shy. I really need to meet some new people. Are you comfortable maybe introducing me to some people that I don't know there? Ask. And then if the answer is yes, then let's go.
Yeah.
And then one other thing, Shawn, building on what Shawn said about letting people know you're going. If you're not following Julius Solaris, follow him. I'll drop his information in the chat. The numbers don't lie on this with trade shows, meetings, and events. If you say, hey, I'm going to this trade show, and most trade shows and events, when you register, they actually give you the imagery that says, like, tell or post this that you're going. The numbers say 31%. You have like that much more registration, that much more attendance if you just post that, like, hey, I'm attending this event. So follow Julius Solaris. He talks a lot about, executing trade shows, but also attending trade shows as well. And it's all very statistics based.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to piggyback on something Troy said too, if I can.
Go for it.
I spent a lot of my early career just absolutely crippled with feeling inauthentic when I was doing sales, right? And so what I've grown into is that for me, being authentic at a trade show is my goal is not to close or sell. My goal is always to be someone's phone a friend. This entire industry operates on phone a friend, to Troy's point. And so if I'm at a show and I see someone who's my phone a friend, I grab their arm and we're going to go walk the floor together, and I'm going to try and become someone else's phone a friend. I want to be the, hey, I know a guy about workforce management. I know a guy about labor law compliance in California. That's my only goal. And when you do that really well and you actually are the expert at the thing, the sales follow, right? But if you're leading with, hey, can I get a demo? Can I get a demo? Can I get a demo? Like, that's not what anyone's there for. They're there for connections. Otherwise, they'd be doing a virtual demo remotely with you.
That's awesome. We have so many people here on stage. Just a quick reminder, please reshare on LinkedIn. That helps us grow this community, get more voices up here on stage. Thank you guys for being a part of this. Let's go to the other side of the pond. Mr. Scott Turner, Auden Hospitality. 60 seconds. Who are you? What are you building? And a man with much experience in the trade show space.
Hey guys, how are you? I've been away for a while traveling, so
we've been watching, we've been following you because you're such a good smartphone storyteller.
Trying my best to take you all with me. Yeah, we've been in Bali, Australia, and Hong Kong, and the best bit of it was my brother-in-law is in the Navy, so we got to go on an active sub with the kids and snoop around this submarine engine room, emergency hatch, and the lot. So yeah, that was good fun. That was good. We couldn't post any photos. They took the phone off me. I was thinking of you, Shawn.
Sounds about right.
It was like national security. I thought in this instance I'll get a buy, but.
Yeah.
I'm the founder of Odin Hospitality. We're working with hotels to create bold and exciting food and beverage. And yeah, work in UK, US, Nairobi. We're doing some stuff now in Kenya. And we're trying to track it along the way. So we've got some pretty cool videos coming out from a trip to Nairobi in January. They'll be coming onto YouTube soon. Yeah, I think that this is a really great subject actually, because it's something that I've been talking about with Richard actually this week in terms of. So we're going to Bar and Restaurant Expo. I've got 2 or 3 panels coming up in the next kind of 3 or 4 weeks, and there's one in Budapest actually that is the perfect target market for me. And it was how can we be really intentional and strategic about building connection and having conversations with the right people. There's me and my ops director going, and we were looking at the attendee list, exactly how some of the guys have been talking the other day, and looking at who goes and chats to who. And sometimes it's not always me going to the most senior guy in the room. Sometimes it's the ops guy as well, because it helps to break some of those barriers. So I think for us, it's really about understanding why we're going to each trade show, what we want to get out of it, and who are the people we want to be connecting with. And as everyone says, this isn't a sales game. It's how do we make it memorable, and how do we connect with the right people that then leads to conversations down the line. So we're looking at how we can potentially do stuff with some of the video footage we've been doing. So instead of handing out profile decks or that type of thing, when people ask for contacts, we send them over a pretty cool video that has everything in there that kind of sums us up in kind of 30-35 seconds, and it's just a bit more memorable than handing out business cards and stuff like that. So yeah, I think my advice to people is understand the why you want to go. Back to what everyone was saying, don't go to a show you don't want to go to, and then when you do, be really intentional about what you want to achieve from going to those conferences. That would be my kind of to-do list of what we've been working on the last couple of weeks.
Brilliant. I will see you in Las Vegas, and that goes
100%.
to anybody. We will be out there for Pizza Expo and Bar and Restaurant Show. So if somebody's in Vegas, let us know. Follow each other on LinkedIn, connect with each other. That's what this community does. We have a Slack channel, we have a LinkedIn group chat, and we have an Instagram group chat. If you guys want to be added to that, just email us podcast@calibbq.media. Jason Berkowitz, so much patience. Thank you for waiting. You were the first one in the green room. Now
happy to participate.
Now it's your time to shine.
Love to see all these people that I will happily share the time with. So let me move quickly. Number one is one of the greatest things we do is practice our spiels and introductions. Jason Berkowitz, longtime restaurant operator, partner, founder of Arrow Up Training. We help restaurants satisfy compliance, level up their teams, and develop supervisors into leaders. Why do we work on this? So that in quick moments, like walking up to a trade show, figure it out, maybe not as formalized, keep it loose, but be ready to communicate what you're doing. 2, let me tell you a fun, quick story, and I take the California hippie at heart. At the last show, one of the last shows of the year last year, I went with a very strong intention of connecting with one individual. And so going up to that show, I worked on what I was going to say, how I was going to make sure that I first led with personal questions. So not in a snooping sense, but found out a couple things to keep it real, somewhat casual. So I didn't go right for the jugular. Hey, I saw that post on this. That was so cool. How did that work out? Launched that level of engagement while I was there on the plane, practiced it. While I got to the hotel room, practiced it, and basically put the intention out there. And on the last night, walking out the door of dinner, this person saw me, grabbed me, and was like, oh my God, so great to see you. And it just flowed so effortlessly. So it was a combination of literally putting it into the universe, absolutely making sure that I was ready and prepared so that the moment wasn't awkward and I capitalized on it. And it was just kind of these little things where it's like when luck meets prepared and you had a little bit of intention behind it, it's fantastic. Question to Mark. I attended the InsurTech conference 2 years ago in the insurance world, and they were using the Brello app and what they did was they put a bunch of little cocktail tables together in the center of the room with numbers above it, where you then on the Brello app preset to meet with people. And it was 15-minute increments of all you got. And it was at 10 o'clock, meet me at station 101 at the cocktail table. And it was really efficient and amazing. And maybe it was different in the insurtech industry with what was going on. Is that part of a future roadmap? Is it not at all? Why does it not happen?
Yeah, no, great question, Jason. We definitely we are doing that. Basically, it's like speed dating, right? We're hoping to come together and fall in love. Doesn't always happen, but it's basically it's all about not leaving it to just organic. We're hoping that these two parties come together and do business. And so what we do is we basically ask a bunch of BANT questions. When you register, we have a bunch of information on your company. And on the supplier side, we're asking specific, like, who is it that you want to meet with? And if it's not specific operators, then give us an idea. Like, is it 20 plus locations, 50 plus locations? And then what we're doing is we're taking all that information on both sides and we're doing these 15-minute, that's exactly what it is, kind of speed dating. But again, it's with data, it's with information. We're bringing two parties together, hopefully can find that synergy. But really important, we've seen a lot of success with it. It's a hell of a lot of work. And it's not a perfect system because there always has to be a little bit of organic, like be open to this concept you're not really familiar with because they're an emerging brand. There are 5 locations now, but they're going to be at 100 in 2 years. So we are doing that. We've seen that it's effective. It's not a perfect system, but I like where your head's at because it kind of guarantees you go into the conference knowing I'm going to have 10 meetings and they're going to be quality operators. It's not just going to be by chance.
And also, and this one was on that specific app, right? People were sort of showing what they were looking for and reaching and connecting. And something that was valuable was, and it was this much smaller conference though, right? And there's a lot of differences with this, but it was a specific area. So if you take the National Restaurant Show, right, where it's 5 football fields, it was a very specific area where you got to pop away. And instead of, hey, you meet me over, meet me by Coca-Cola. Wait, which fountain drink you next to? Right. It was kind of like the set area, which really saved a lot of travel time. Little different than the Restaurant Leadership Conference, which was smaller, but it was something cool.
Yeah, I love it. We are constantly looking at fine tuning it. It's a really good activation, but it's not perfect. But yeah, we have like signage and we have it we have it in the marketplace typically, so it creates buzz. And there's snacks and there's food and people are like, what's going on here? And they see the suppliers and operators engaging. And it's been really awesome on the operator side. Like I'm getting a lot of operators like, hey, I didn't think that was going to be a great meeting, but it was. We may end up doing business.
Very cool. Great question, Jason. Michael Ngaro, Kings of Fish in the house. 60 seconds. Who are you? What are you building? And advice or questions for Mark?
You got it. Hello, everybody. Michael Ngaro, CEO, visionary, part owner of the San Pedro Fish Market family of businesses, as well as the Kings of Fish TV show currently streaming on Amazon Prime and we're producing season 2 right now with lots of opportunities for everyone. I didn't have a question. I mean, I think everything I thought to ask has been answered. I'll share a strategy. In the past for our business when we were doing well and things were just kind of going as they go. We would attend trade shows with let's just walk around and see if there's anything cool that we can bring in or incorporate or help improve the business. When we started finding ourselves into breakdown situations like the pandemic or what we're dealing with now with like eviction and moving into a parking lot and building new locations, what I declared was we're not going to spend money to just attend a show just to attend and walk around and see if there's anything cool we could spend money on. Because that's kind of or take a day off and wander around the show in different cities. So that's kind of what it had turned into. So what we did instead is I would, as a CEO, I would declare a specific intention and purpose for going. And then I would have conversations with our leadership team about who wants to be there, and how would you be able to contribute to what we're trying to produce based on our goals as a company. So like during the pandemic, when third party was all the rage and we're trying to figure out what to do there was the food on demand conference somebody mentioned, I forgot who it was, in Las Vegas. I said, we're not going to go look at booths. What we're going to do is there's a whole bunch of breakout sessions, and we're going to divide them up based on what you're working on in the company. Everyone's going to attend one of these. I don't care if it's 2 or 3 people in the same one, that's fine. Take lots and lots of notes. We're going to put it all into a Google Doc, and then we're going to come back and go through them over the course of however long it takes to come up with like, what strategy can we produce out of this? What sort of action plan? Who's going to lead it? And where will it go? And we'd have like, I think that's how my nephew at one of those conferences met you, Shawn, because he was there specifically developing the IT department that we needed. And so when we started meeting, he goes, I know you. I met you before. And
and also, I can't believe they were sitting in the audience for my tech talk that I lost. I believe we lost audio and video. So I had to just yell at the audience, but I'm a good yeller, so it was no problem.
And then, actually that's great, because then last year we went to the Chicago show, which we hadn't done for a while, and it wasn't completely on the radar, but why aren't we going to this? We're building these new restaurants. We're looking for sponsors. We're working with Shawn's company for Kings of Fishers, all these new opportunities to, one, produce content, but also network and find sponsors, in addition to just, we still are trying to determine. It's funny. I think, somebody reached out about a showcase for seafood, and we all looked at each other like, we haven't bought one for so long, and the one we bought we hate. I don't want to recommend anything. It's like, why aren't we going to all the different restaurants that we know of that already carry these different designs of a fresh fish case, and talk to them? And that's what we ended up doing inside and outside, is actually to prepare to go to the shows, because like I don't think we're going to make the Boston Seafood Show, which is a shame. But we know so many people that are in seafood that are already there, that have booths and have private rooms. And we have a lot of connections being in the seafood industry for 70 years. But it's like, we should be going to the restaurants and businesses that carry that product, talk to, like Italy was one that we recently toured, and how they're handling fresh seafood was so different than what we anticipated. So then it's like, okay, now when you go to the show, look for that product, look for the companies they mentioned, see what we can learn from that. So it's just really about being strategic and not just making it a day off.
That was an awesome contribution. Thank you, Mike. Let's go to Hildy, who sells swag. 60 seconds. Who are you? What do you do for a living? And how do you help booths, partners show up better so they're not giving away shitty swag?
Well, Shawn, in case you didn't notice, I have identical twins in the screen.
I do. I apologize for my bad language.
So Troy, wake up. Go ahead, girls. Tell them.
Oh, yes, I actually saw your, we're USF students, and on our birthday, we're looking at some restaurants, and I came across your pepper lunch. I was like, pepper lunch. I came across on Instagram, so shout out to your marketing team. I was just scrolling through, saw an ad. That was really cool.
So that's where they want to go for their birthday, because they go to college in Tampa. Awesome. They arrived at my home at 5:00 this morning, because I am their I'm one of their, so they're identical twins. So this is Cherish and this is Unique. And I'm helping Cherish to win a Shark Tank type competition tomorrow. And Richard posted this week about being a judge. So Shawn, you don't realize the magic of what you've created, right?
We've created this. It's we, Hildy. We've got a rising tide lifts all ships. I am not doing this by myself. I've got an incredible team, and everyone here that's on this call. If we didn't show up, this wouldn't happen. So
here's the next generation.
Shawn's the captain of that.
I don't know about, my wife is the captain. Rosita is the captain.
So, right? But look at how beautiful this community is, that I can see what people are doing. I can introduce these ladies who you want to talk about an empty slate. They really have no idea what the business world is, but they do each have their own business. They'll be pitching tomorrow in front of sharks who could potentially give them investments. And so while you think, what are they doing? We're talking here today about trade shows, and I will talk about what I do for a minute, but I guess I get a tiny bit more time since there's 3 of us. But hopefully they're realizing that tomorrow they're going to be at this event where there's not just the 4 judges who are going to be in Cherish's group, and it's not going to be the 4 judges in Unique's group. There are 16 judges, all with money that they can invest, and their teams and mentors who have been successful. So if they're listening, they're realizing that they shouldn't just be on their phone tomorrow. They should be introducing themselves to people and giving each person a reason to reach out to them later. They're against the rules for them, because we know already who the judges are. They're not allowed to reach out to them on LinkedIn today, because I guess that's not fair. But going forward, they can. So I wanted them to be in this call today so they can learn and grow from all of you. And if they want to reach out to you on their own on LinkedIn, they're big girls, they can handle it, and ask advice, ask questions. They don't know what they don't know. So yes, I am the swag girl. And
Hildy, can I interrupt?
You
Sorry.
totally can interrupt, Richard.
So I sent Cherish a message on LinkedIn, and tomorrow what I'm going to say is good luck. Go enjoy it. Take the pressure off. Like you're talking about your proposition. Nobody knows your proposition better than you, not the judges. Tell them your why, tell them stories, speak from the heart. And if that's not the right product or proposition for them, that's okay, because it will be for somebody else. Tell your story, tell it with heart, tell it with soul, and you've got every opportunity. Tomorrow won't define the rest of your life, but it's a great practice for you to go shine. Good luck.
100%. And I kept looking. I'm like, you look so familiar. I've seen you. And I was like, and then Hildy was telling me, oh, he's the one that I was like, you're right. Yeah, it is. But yes, Hildy has been teaching me a lot about storytelling, that's for sure. And like, it's becoming so much more important. Like I used to I pitched before in the business sense, but I didn't realize how important storytelling was to that. It's like you can't have one without the other. So she's been teaching me a lot about that. My pitch is going to look different than it's ever looked before in the past. So I'm very excited.
Cherish, people will buy your product, and your product can be amazing, and nobody will buy it because people buy people. People buy people. Your product needs to be good, but you need to be great.
Yeah. Amen, Richard. So quickly for me, and then I'm going to let them do their 1 second elevator pitch so you can see what they'll be pitching tomorrow. So yes, I am really gung-ho about trade shows and the right giveaways. If it's the right giveaway, and I have had people reach out to me 10 years later and say, Hildy, you gave this to me 10 years ago and it has not moved from my desk. So for each person, that's something different. I do my best to make sure that people don't waste their money. And sometimes it's hey, when you come to the trade show, if you swing by my booth, you'll get part A of part B. And part B is when you book a meeting with me, I'll give you the 2 parts together that make something great. But it's something different for everybody. So I'm going to push back and let Cherish give you the quick spiel of what she's pitching tomorrow, and then Unique what she's pitching.
Sweet. Right, go for it. Live pitching. I love it.
You go. Yeah. Is this good?
Yeah, good. Perfect.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Cherish. So tomorrow I'll be pitching Solex, which is basically a company that I'm starting and hoping to launch next month. So it's charms, accessories, and laces for your sneakers. The same market that I'm targeting is the same one that Crocs has been targeting for a while. They allow you to personalize their shoes, and there's nothing really like that for sneakers. So I'm here trying to change that landscape and kind of revolutionize the sneaker industry. I've been a sneaker reseller for more than 7 years. I've been doing that. I was that girl swooping up the finds, beating out the boys in those Nike clearance stores. Yes. That was me. So I was one of the biggest problems that I kind of faced and saw with my clients is that they don't have a way to personalize their sneakers unless they're buying style after style, or they're getting custom paint jobs for them, which can be very expensive. So I'm definitely hoping to revolutionize the sneaker industry with Solex. But yeah,
great job.
Okay, Unique.
Cherish, great job.
Thank you. Hello, my name's Unique. My business is Wisely. It's a platform connecting students in real time for carpooling. So I started last October, and it's really stemmed from being a college student and not having a car, transportation. And I'm not the only person that shares this problem as well. Plenty of other friends that don't have a cars, and they're either spending so much money on Ubers and Lyfts. It's insane. So I'm looking to started app development, and we're launching this month. So the app is ready. I was able to get advisor, has experience with the carpooling platform with college students as well. So it's just going very well, and we're excited to kind of bring that to the market for other college students.
Amazing.
She'll be featured on Fox soon. She left that part out, but
Fox
Sweet.
News?
Yeah, so
When?
with our launch later this March.
Okay,
Uh,
I'll be sure
make-
to post it.
Make sure to do a lot of behind the scenes content on your news appearance. That will be more valuable. The news appearance is amazing. Get the native video from the producers, ask them for the native video so you can repurpose that on social, but get as much behind the scenes while you're going there, what you're experiencing before you go on camera, after you go on camera, get as much video as possible.
We'll do
Hey,
that.
can I give a piece of advice?
Yes.
On that last pitch?
Yes.
So, how many college students are in America? How many of them don't have cars? What are they spending on average on an Uber or Lyft? Set the tone. There are 7 million college students in America. 70% of them don't have a car. They're relegated to the 1.5 or 2 miles around their campus, but they want to be able to get jobs or take internships or blah, blah, blah. And they spend on average, $300 a month on an Uber. I have a solution, blah, blah, blah. And sort of set the tone that there's this massive market that's real, that's visible, and then here's who I am and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And by the way, I would go from that to I'm one of those people, and this is my story. And then you tell your story about how that affects you. What does it prevent you from doing? What does it prevent you from achieving? What does it prevent you from getting? That's a problem. So now you've set the TAM, the total addressable market. You've set the problem, and then you tell us how you've solved it with your tool.
Amazing. Great advice. And Mark, are you able to stay on? With respect to your time, thank you for being here. We let this community go long, so we'll probably go till 11:30. But if you have a hard out, no worries. You can give us your are you good to stay, or are you?
I'm loving it. This is good. I should be good for another half hour.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. We got so many people we want to share. Elizabeth Doss, one of our leaders. Thank you for being here, always showing up, helping us grow this community. Go for it. 60 seconds.
Yeah, sure. I am Elizabeth Doss. I'm a social media consultant, but I mainly operate in the realm of animated GIFs. I do motion graphic designs, but I work with brands to have their own custom GIFs available to them as Instagram stickers, as in the comments section, etc. And I love tech everything. So my shares today are going to be super practical for you guys. So listen up. Okay, first thing, on your phones, iPhones, and I'm sorry for what I'm about to do to any of you guys who don't have an iPhone.
Do it.
I'm just doing it. Okay, so when you're going, I loved what Laura shared at the beginning about your pre-show work, your during show work, and your post-show work. So I'm going to tackle a couple of those things. So one thing I wanted to show you before I share my screen, because I am going to take us on a tutorial today, is when you have two iPhones, if they will touch, you can actually share your e-card with you. Of course, I nabbed my husband's phone and it's not working, but you see it has this lovely little beautiful thing that happens when the two of them touch, whether they hover over each other or they touch end to end. And what it actually does, because I can't delete myself from my husband's phone, I'm not going to do that to show you actually that part of that part of it. But what it does is it opens up your contact card information. So your pre-work is that you need to update your card information. And so what I'm going to do very quickly, I haven't asked for permission to do this, but I did ask for permission, but Mike and Stover, I don't think saw it. So I'm going to share my screen just very quickly.
We need to do more screen share, by the way, Elizabeth. You have full permission, and so does this community. If you have something cool to share, show us, don't tell us. This is fantastic. Okay. More.
All right, so the very first thing that you're going to want to do is in your contacts section on your phone, swipe all the way to the top and you'll find My Card. When you click on My Card, you want to make sure you've updated your photo, etc., all that stuff. But you want to swipe down till you get to this area. You want to make sure you've added all of your social handles. So to do this, you're going to click Edit and you're going to scroll all the way down and then get to this section. You can add social profiles. When you click into it, it has a whole list of buttons. And Richard, look, they have ZenZap. Isn't that awesome?
Wow, that is really cool.
And so you can add your ZenZap to that too. It's a company that, anyway, cool people, check out ZenZap. It's great for DMing between
businesses.
In workplace, but yeah, so people aren't texting you on that side. So I wanted to show you that. Make sure that you get your card up to date. Next thing I wanted to show very quickly, if I can get out of this is the problem with using the I'm using my share screen thing. Oops, nope, that didn't do it. Maybe I have to come all the way to the bottom, maybe to the top. Okay, that's not going to work. I have to unlock my phone real quick to do this part, to navigate over. Sorry, guys, just hang with me.
You're good.
The technology is super fun. Okay, connecting back. I gotta. By the way, you can do this on your computer now. If you have a Mac and an iPhone, you can do screen sharing on it. So here I am on my Instagram profile. One thing you want to check to make, if you're an Instagram person and you like to share your profile rather than your personal information, go to your bio. If you click share profile, you actually have a QR code that you can show to the other person. They can pull up their camera and just have the camera hover over and hit the link, and they can follow you. You can use this at any networking event as well. Okay.
LinkedIn also has that feature.
Gotcha. Yeah. So on your LinkedIn, I think it's in your other thing. One thing, okay, going back. Sorry, it's hard to swipe between apps on the phone. Okay, so I am actually in my Photos app right now. This is a client of mine. This is Moxie. But what I want to encourage you to do is to take a note from Shawn and make sure you're taking selfies at the trade shows with people. Here's why. When you have the photo, as soon as you walk away from them, you can hit this little I button right here at the bottom and add a caption and say, Moxie from Encore, like, and give yourself a couple of notes about that person.
I didn't know there was that text field. That is amazing. Great tip.
And about what you want to remember from them, maybe their website, that type of stuff. So you have that information. And why would you want to do that? Well, it's because when you after the fact, you can have this whole list of posts for LinkedIn to be able to share and tag that person in it and continue the conversation and say, look, I met this person at such and such, and you can actually refer to the conversation that you had. Finally, on your iPhones, you actually have an app called Voice Memo. And I'm going to pull it up really quick here. On your phone, if you'll just in the evening take the time, or maybe as soon as you walk away from a conversation, turn on Voice Memo and just start to talk about the situation. I wish I didn't have people's personal information on here, or I would show you that when you click in it, there's this little transcribe button, so you can actually get a transcription of the thing that you are using. So you can, and that works in notes as well. I should have shown you that. When you open up notes and a new note, there's a paper clip. If you hit the paper clip, let me just see if I can show it to you really fast. Because if you hit the paper clip, there is a button that you can actually record the conversation with. So I have just opened up a new thing in a new note in my phone. And when I hit the little paper clip in the top of this, or in the bottom of this photo, sorry, it's connecting. Come on, do your job. You were doing so good a minute ago. One more time, and if it doesn't work. Anyway, hit the paper clip. It's not working. I will let it go. If you hit the paper clip, and then there's an audio recording, record your audio, but it will transcribe it in the notes section. So you can actually have a note that refers, and you take notes in it, and it'll have a transcription, all the things. But this is some things that you can do before, during, and after for your conference, and I'm out.
That was amazing. Thank you, Elizabeth. Always bringing so much value to the community. We appreciate it. Those were great tips. And if you're an Android user, I'm sorry, iPhone is available. You can switch, or you can just, maybe you can share some Android tips. We'll do an Android conversation. Richard Liverman, he's shaking his head. Richard, who are you? What are you building? And a man with experience in branding and storytelling at trade shows. What kind of advice can you give to somebody that might, whether they're listening live or they find this on the Digital Hospitality podcast feed later, or they find it on our Cali BBQ Media YouTube channel? What's your tips or questions for Mark?
But it's really interesting because I've been to a lot of trade shows. I used to go to one each year in Orlando. It's an interesting place, Orlando, isn't it? And then I went to a massive one in Cannes in the south of France, and it's actually in the same venue where they do the film show, where they do all the film premieres. Sadly, the most famous person they had there was Randy Zuckerberg at the conference I went to. And what was amazing about it was both a conference and the biggest trade show, one of the biggest in Europe. It's the biggest global travel retail show in the world. And there were 8-9 halls at least, as well as outdoors. And there were a lot of parties, or as we say in the UK, do's. That's that word of the day. And
wait, hold on. What did you say? Do's?
Yeah. So you say, oh, what are you doing in the evening? Oh, I'm going to a do.
A do?
A do. It's a version of party in the UK. It's what we say instead of party. Ended up in a yacht with doing all kinds of crazy things in the Mediterranean. It's great fun. One of the things that was really interesting about the trade show is we went to see some of our clients, but we were also looking for prospective clients. And I recognized somebody queuing for a coffee and went up to him and said, hey, we've not seen each other in ages, and reconnected with this guy. He said, oh, you need to come to our booth tomorrow and just have a conversation. It was really interesting when people were talking about having a set time because it just doesn't work. But we went to the booth, saw this guy, and he was the global director for Godiva. And I've met him a couple of times before in another role, and we had a conversation with him. What was really interesting was when people were talking about those singles, not a home run. We had a conversation with him. I mean, I had to jump on the grenade and try lots of Belgian chocolate, which was just incredibly stressful. I managed to actually get a box from my other half, and I was like, oh, look at these chocolates I bought you, which is very generous. And the follow-up, thanking them for their hospitality, all the rest of it, turned into another meeting, and it turned into a 6-figure client and a trip to the chocolate factory in Brussels, which was amazing. And I think there's that bit when you're at a trade show where people were talking about energy, but I always think, and it's something that Laura and I talk about a lot, which is mindfulness and being aware. This guy was queuing for a coffee. I met him 2 years ago, but I was prepared, I was ready. And just having a conversation and not selling was like, hey, what are you up to? How are you getting on? We got the invitation to go and hang out with him. And then maybe 2-3 meetings later. And I think there's this thing we've talked about a lot before about sales breath. And I think what's really interesting when you go to a lot of these conferences and exhibitions, I think there's a much simpler rule. Don't be a dick. Because how many times have you seen people either in the boobs behaving like ugh, but also as a guest? How can you be a good guest? Because obviously the people in the boobs are paid a lot of money and they need to get a return on investment and talk to people. So I guess my question to Laura and Mark is, if you want to sell to the people in the boobs, what do you think is the right approach, and how can visitors avoid being dicks?
Okay, I have to ask you, are you saying in the boobs or in the booth? Booth, TH.
Booth.
This just
Yes.
went a whole different direction, guys.
Started with Shawn swearing, and that was it. All downhill.
It all went
That was
downhill.
it.
It was
Okay,
with the
so-
T.
You know what Friday shows are, right, Jason?
Okay, with a TH.
Yeah.
With a TH.
Richard, I
With
love
an
your
F.
share. And now I want to get invited to more dues at these conferences. So that's my goal. Mark, make it happen for me. Get me invited to some dues and some speed datings. But Mark, you are an expert on this. So Richard, can you tell us your question one more time for Mark?
Yeah. So when you're approaching people from the perspective of as a visitor, where you want to sell to people who are exhibiting there or start those conversations. Now, obviously, their expectation is they want to be selling to the public or the visitors at the exhibition. But if it's the other way round, just what are your hints and tips? Because it's some, I've done it a few times, but I'm always welcome information from experts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd be considered an expert. I'm barely functioning here, but hey, I'll throw in my 2 cents. I mean, it's so important just to know who these people are that you're trying to target, right? I know it's kind of been said, but quick story, a couple stories, real quick. You know, I was with a vendor, and there was an operator that came by, a very powerful operator, and this vendor was talking with them, and they said, "Yeah, I'm with Inspire Brands. If you guys are in the food service industry, you probably know who Inspire Brands are." But this vendor is like, "Oh, so what? Tell me a little bit about Inspire Brands. You guys small, or I mean, they're one of the biggest operators in the entire world." And so you just got to get your education, right? You got to like dig in a little bit and understand like who these people are. And then I always like to go on LinkedIn and then maybe even Facebook, like borderline stalk these people, know where they went to school, know what their interests are. Like try to get as much information as you can. Look up their bio online, and anything like that is going to give you the edge. And so when you go into the conference and you see them at their booth, James, how are you doing? My name is Mark, and it's really good to meet you. Tell me a little bit about you and your family. I know you're from Atlanta. I actually went to school in Atlanta, or like any connection. Again, it's all about being humanized. And then from that point on, it's just more natural. And you know exactly why you're there, who you need to talk to, what it is you need to talk to, maybe even know their pain points, and you're there to provide some solutions for them. And then one thing too, you know, and this has kind of already been said, but just get involved in everything you can. I showed up to a running club one time at our Global Restaurant Leadership Conference in Singapore. I was exhausted. I didn't feel like doing it, but it's like I always meet good operators there. So I show up and I start running, and who shows up? Dan Cathy, CEO, used to be CEO of Chick-fil-A. Now he's just chairman of the board. We ran for a half hour, and afterwards we were basically like friends. And you know, there's so many suppliers that probably slept in and didn't even think twice about attending that. So know who you're looking for, know a lot about them, and it's going to be much easier.
That was an awesome stories. Thank you, Mark. Great question,
Excellent.
Richard. Maddie
I'll
Smoke.
jump on that really
Oh,
quick before
go
we
ahead.
get Maddie.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark. Such good advice about showing up early and bringing the energy. If you're going to show up, be all in. But also, Richard, to your question about interacting with people at their booth. If you're a vendor that wants to talk to somebody exhibiting, a great example for I just want to make sure for anybody who is exhibiting. Someone who does this so incredibly well, and Mark knows this, is Jersey Mike's. They show up with an absolute abundance of sandwiches in their catering trays. And to Mandy's earlier point about, you know, don't be eating a sandwich. If you want to work with Jersey Mike's, be eating a sandwich. Like absolutely, you know, just enjoy it, interact with them, try the different sandwiches, talk about it. You know, really support their business. That's so much about what we all do here is amplify the message of the people that we want. And you know this, Richard. But yeah, just supporting them, trying the food, and then talking about it later.
Yeah, and also too, like they're like if any updates on the media too, like it's always nice to go into a conversation like, hey, I just saw you guys got acquired, you know, by was it BlackRock Capital or something like that. But like that's a talking point. They've been focusing on that for 6 months to a year. So if you can talk to what it is that they're going through or just went through, I think there's that instant respect and credibility that comes with that.
Awesome.
Agreed.
Thank you. Great tips. Maddie Smokes, 60 seconds. Who are you? What are you building? And any questions about trade shows or advice you have?
So I'm Maddie Smokes, owner and chef of JJ Cooper's and Maddie Smokes Barbecue and Catering. Just trying to continue to grow in the hospitality industry and network. And, you know, I've been doing that for 20 years and hopefully many more to come. I'm a newbie to the trade shows. So I went to the bar and restaurant show at the Javits Center last year, going in a few weeks. Did the franchise expo at the Meadowlands last year. And I guess for me, it's more of a question of being somebody, a small business owner, trying to advance into a bigger world and grow. What would be your biggest piece of advice to someone like me to not get lost at these trade shows? Because when you go in, you got people trying to sell you things left and right. You've got these break-offs and all these different presentations going on. with 6 of them going on at one time, and you don't even know necessarily where to go and what you're going to get the most out of. So for me, it's would anyone have any advice on direction and just not getting lost in these huge convention centers, to be able to hone in on, you know, a certain, I guess you'd call it a specialization, or have direction when you're there. It's just a lot to take in.
I can speak to that, Maddie. Great to see you. Thank you for being here. And really the idea about maybe picking 5 people that are speaking that you want to meet, someone you consider to be excellent at what they do, somebody that you believe you can learn from and hopefully meet and hopefully network with eventually. And just start there as opposed to getting overwhelmed. I have been overwhelmed at the National Restaurant Association show big time. That place is absolutely massive. The only way I survived it was by going to a few speakers, and one of them was on partnerships. Fabio Viviani was the celebrity chef speaking.
Fabio's
I sat
awesome.
there. Isn't he great?
He's
I wore
phenomenal.
my DeNova t-shirt. I asked a question in the audience, and got to meet him and his team afterwards. And they thanked me for asking the question. But even one connection like that, the group that he's part of, Dynamic Hospitality Group in Chicago, is a partner now. And that started with a relationship 2 or 3 years ago of meeting him in the audience while he was speaking. So,
I have to second that. I mean, I met Diego Cervantes and his family at the National Restaurant Show when I was speaking there, and he came up to me, his mom, his dad, his brother, they came up to me. They said, you know, this is who we are. We have a family. We have restaurants in Sacramento, but like, we've been connected, and he's a part of this community. And what they're doing now, if you go to Super Taco on social and you follow them on TikTok or Instagram, I mean, it gives me chills just to see how cool and how far they've come. But to Laura's point, Informa, shout out to Mark and the Informa team. They do a great job curating educational content of operators that know their shit. And the operators that know what's going on, like, they want you to ask questions. They want you to, we say stay curious, get involved, ask for help. Like, curiosity brings you to a trade show, but if you don't do anything with it, like, you actually have to sit in the front, ask the question, stay afterwards, and then ask them, what should I go see? Those people that are there, they have the best experience of, the booths that you should go attend, based off of what you're trying to build, whether it's on the restaurant side, catering side. Great question, Maddie. Mark, anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think just going into the conference with the pain point.
I think did we lose?
You froze, Mark.
Did we lose Mark?
There you are.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
Okay. Yeah,
go ahead. You said pain point, and then we lost you.
Yeah, no, you're good. So I just, obviously going to the conference just with the list of, 4 or 5 pain points, challenges that you're dealing with, and then align that with different supplier partners. And so you strategically know going into the event, like, okay, I want to meet with these 4 or 5 suppliers, or at least maybe it's like 10, 20 of them that all fall into that realm of like potential solutions based off of what your struggles are. And then I would look at, like, if you guys are like, I don't know too much about you, forgive me, Maddie, and about your concept, but if you're like 5 locations and you want to get to 20 and there's another barbecue joint, maybe a chain that's ahead of you by a few years, like, see if those individuals are going to be attending the event, and then reach out. And I bet you anything, you'll be able to connect with them, and that just expedites that whole solution finding process. It's an open book quiz, and I feel like sometimes that's the greatest value, is just that peer-to-peer information exchange with someone that was in your shoes just a few years ago.
Great advice.
Just a quick. Going to the New York show?
Anybody going in this community? I don't know anybody. I sent you, Maddie, a couple.
Yeah. I was just asking here if anyone was.
Yeah. So definitely meet up with Chip Close. Definitely meet up with Rev Ciancio, Kelsey from Marquee. They're all speaking at a marketing panel up there. But if anybody else is, I'll connect you. If I see anybody, like I said, if you're going to an event, post that you're going to the event so that I can see it and other people can see it and say, hey, you should meet with this person. The amount of deep connections that I've made just because I was willing to say, hey, I'm going to be in Chicago. Who should I meet up with at this event? And somebody goes, I know this exact, partner.
Yeah.
client, friend, somebody that you should meet. So post about it.
Yeah, and Maddie, and this is not trying to make a shameless plug here, but if you want to go to the NRA show, anyone on the operator side, I can get you guys comp passes, so it'll save you like $160.
Wow, look at that. Careful
Hey.
careful what you say, Mark. You might open the floodgates.
I'm
might get in trouble.
throwing money out there, Just promise, don't. My only rule is just don't be a douchebag, okay?
Yes. Make us proud. Yeah, make us proud.
But also too, like Maddie, if you want to connect with me, I have some like small groups, like executive groups that interact with each other, just operators only. We ask our supplier friends to step out just so they can have that roundtable discussion, and we might be able to get you on some of those too, and that'll be helpful. You can just pick the brain of other executives in the same situation as you.
That's awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Ian, you've been so patient. Thank you. Mike is yours. Go for it.
Yeah, of course. Ian Hawksworth with EHS Recruiting Company. We help restaurant and hospitality companies connect with top talent nationwide. We're really excited about trade shows and conferences. Our next big one that we're for sure going to is the California Restaurant Show, and just wanted to throw it out there for operators for that one, that, connect with us if you want passes, because we get free referrals for that one as well. So
when is that? When is that?
Early August.
Oh, that's so far from now.
5th.
that's in like 5 years, dude. But I will be there, Ian. I will be there. I'm there every year, so I will look forward to hanging for the first time.
For sure. Yeah. And I loved the conversation so far. Some of it kind of reminded me of like dating on How You Met Your Mother, of grab somebody and say, hey, have you met Shawn? But I think that's a great approach. And I like the idea of going around with a buddy like that and then breaking away from your team, because you don't want to have a pack where you're all wearing your swag. It looks intimidating. No one wants to go into that situation. So that was kind of my tip on that. If you are going around, try to break up, make yourself approachable in that way as well. We're going to have a booth at the California Restaurant Show, so feel free to come stop by, and we look forward to meeting some great people there. And then, we're working on, decking things out. We have a few giveaways to set up, but I'll probably have to hit up Hildy for some more advice on that as well, and see, what we can get stocked up for our table.
Sweet.
But we're trying to show up and meet people where they are, and really looking forward to the shows. And I know that our peers will be at Chicago at the NRA show in Chicago. Bruce Faber is the office owner there, and he goes every year, and he's done guest speaking and all kinds of stuff there too.
Amazing.
So feel free to connect with him in Chicago as well.
Well, yeah, if anyone's going to Chicago, we do a digital hospitality Rising Tides meetup every single day at the National Restaurant Association sign. So we started doing that last year. We just picked a time, half hour before the trade show close. If you're part of this community, we can meet up. You can introduce other people. It's an easy place to find, and it's a great place to network. So let's go around. Tip, takeaway, homework assignment. Mark, thank you so much for your time. Laura, great conversation. Mandy, kick us off. Tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
Okay, tip, takeaway, homework assignment. If you are going to a trade show, conference, meeting, look at the website of the 5 people you want to meet. Look at their last couple of press releases, whatever's in the media. Go to their Instagram, go to their LinkedIn. Just be versed on what's happening in their world.
ChatGPT,
Claude, all of that. So you have some instant talking points. And then if you want to get more involved in a trade show, they're always looking for speakers. You won't get paid, but if you are an expert or a thought leader, volunteer to sit on a panel, volunteer to be a subject matter expert. They may not pick you, it may not be on theme with what they need, but that's another great way to continue some conversations and give yourself a little lift. That's not a selling opportunity. You don't want to be the weird selling person up there, but it is an opportunity for you to meet other cool people and to gain some visibility in the trade show space too.
Awesome. Thank you, Mandy. Richard Liverman, tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
Yeah, first of all, thank you to Laura and Mark. Really, really interesting discussion. And it's made me wish that I was coming to Vegas with Scott.
Me too.
It's all right. I'm going to send a load of stuff to his hotel to bring back. He doesn't realize how much stuff I've got his hotel address. I'm just going to fill it with pink trainers, hoodies, and maybe a couple of firearms just for fun and customs. Anyway, the final thing I want to say is to Hildy's girls, like, go enjoy it. Like, go enjoy it. The more you pitch, the easier it gets. And I've won big. I've won real big on pitches, and I've also lost. Every time you do it, you learn something, and to have that opportunity at your age is amazing. So go enjoy it, go rock it. There's a lot of people cheering you on. You need to cheer yourselves on. So go enjoy it, go rock it. Good luck.
Amazing.
Thank you. We're excited. So
Go for it. You guys are up. Go for it, Hildy.
I'm going to say Richard's tip to my girls. Ready? This is so clever. Where is it? Where is it?
Huh? Oh. Hold on.
Where's the
There we
tip?
go.
Okay. So smart. Ask everyone in the room when you pitch who has a car or a laptop with a sticker, who has decorated their house. We love customization as a society. I'm going to bring this to your sneakers. Fucking genius, Richard Liverman.
Fantastic. Good luck. Thank you so much for joining us. We wish you guys nothing but luck. Please reach out to the community. Join us anytime. Let's go ahead. Mark, what's your tip, takeaway, homework assignment?
I guess 3 things. Know your audience. Know exactly what you're getting into and who's going to be there. You're not going to be able to meet everybody, but if you come away with a handful of really deep connections, it's going to be a win. And then build relationships. We're humans. This is a means to an end. I have 3 little kids. I just want to provide a good life for them. Work is important, but it's not everything.
Yep.
And drill down and get to know these people. Everyone has value. The deeper you get in with them as a person, they're going to see that you're a good person and genuine, and you'll be able to have your opportunity to pitch. And then just prepare your pitch. Know exactly the questions that you're going to ask and be a good listener. That's all I got.
Awesome,
Let
Mark.
me see real quick. I think my cat has something to say real quick.
Oh, yeah?
Pretty sound advice. Yeah. Let me hold on. What was that? Oh, it's just meow meow. So I don't know what that.
That was the first cat pitch on Rising Tides Live.
It was.
That was a historic moment. Well done, Mark. Elizabeth, tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
I just put the translation for meow meow, which is wear comfortable shoes.
Yes.
Don't try to be cute.
Yes.
So smart. Not just shoes, but comfortable jeans, like
comfortable shoes, comfortable
be
jeans.
comfortable. And your other thing is to update your contact info. One thing I did not say is make sure you change the nickname on your card, because you don't want fluffy meow pants to be with what comes across on your card. Change your nickname to your actual name so it doesn't accidentally flow alongside. By the way, when it shares the contact, you can check off the things you don't want to share, like your home address, like your weird email from middle school. Like, you can make sure that it doesn't include certain things in it. So anyway, check it out. And there's also a notes section. So after you walk away from them, you can actually write in the notes anything that you guys talked about as well. And the notes section does not share. But
awesome.
Anyway, great talk. Great job, Laura. Back to you,
next Wednesday, we have Finn McKinty. He's going to be our special guest. He is a B2B expert on LinkedIn, short form content. He is an expert on YouTube. So please join us for next week's live show. Maddie Smokes, what's your tip, takeaway, homework assignment?
Really quick before Maddie Smokes, Shawn, don't forget Substack.
Oh, please. Yes. We have a new restaurant technology Substack newsletter. So shout out to Stover and to Kyle and to the Cali BBQ Media team. But we're really excited to go deep on something that we talk a lot about on digital hospitality. But it is our new Substack newsletter. Please subscribe and check out this week's episode. Thank you, Elizabeth. Maddie Smokes.
For me, I guess it's homework. I've been listening to a lot that's going on. So I got to set up my digital contact card. I've got to figure out the day that I'm going to the restaurant show and really hone in on who I'm going to go see and why, and make the most of my time. And I'm going to have to hit up Mark and start looking into the NRA show, because if it's a freebie, I might as well make my way out there and have some fun with it.
Yeah, Maddie, I can tell you that this community, the amount of people that are on these calls that listen to the podcast, do like we have Chicago's the Super Bowl for us. So that's the one. 70,000 people are there, but this community is close and tight. And if there's any way that you can make it, or anyone that's listening, we want to have as many people in Chicago as possible. And that goes for all over the world. Richard,
Just saying,
UK is welcome in Chicago.
I hear there's good pizza.
There is good pizza. There's incredible food in Chicago. Ian, what's your tip, takeaway, homework assignment?
Well, my takeaway was reaching out like closer to the event, because I feel like we've always had a tendency to try to reach out a little too far in advance, maybe. And it was like people were not ready to commit to anything at that point, potentially. So yeah, keeping it within the week before, that's going to be something that I definitely take away from today.
Awesome. Laura, thank you for the topic. Thank you for bringing Mark. It's been awesome. Go ahead, close us out.
Absolutely. Mandy, did you already give your tip takeaway? You did. Okay. Sorry.
And Audrey. No, I'm sorry, Audrey. You haven't gotten your tip takeaway homework assignment.
I figured I got kicked
Okay,
out for bogarting so much of the other stuff. Okay.
Not at all.
No.
All right. All right. So my I guess don't be a dick, right? Like I feel like you can't go wrong at a trade show as long as you don't be a dick. Show up with the right energy, right? And honestly, for vendors and attendees, you're gonna be ahead of 80% of your competition if you just prepare and follow up. That's it. It's really not that hard.
Amazing.
Of all the episodes to get the explicit label on Spotify, it's about conferences.
Yes. Well, Ian, for this, we've been doing this, I guess, now for 4 years, doing these shows that started on Club. But this is, as Troy Hooper claimed, fuck it Friday. So everything goes on Fridays. So we might have to bring that back. Go ahead, Laura, close us out.
Yes. And if you're going to show up at the boob,
yes,
AKA booth, make sure that you're prepared. That's one.
Stop mocking the English language.
And 2, get invited to the dues.
The dues.
Got to do that.
Do the dues.
But on a serious note, I'm going to take the advice of Troy and check in with my current customers who are attending, make sure they're happy and that there's nothing that would hold them back from introducing me. I'm also going to ask Mark if the RLC app is ready yet, but a recommendation for everybody is make sure you download that app and that you're checking the schedule and the itinerary and plan. Mark your calendar, set an appointment reminder for all of the things that you want to attend, set an alarm that'll go off on your phone to get you there early, and just show up. I mean, and Elizabeth, the comfortable shoes. I don't know who else has worn like new shoes to a conference and then been absolutely dying in pain because there's so much walking at the conferences if you're doing it right. So, and to Shawn's grandfather, his advice has become something that is my advice to my family and myself, which is stay curious, get involved, and ask for help.
Appreciate that, Laura. You guys have been awesome. We appreciate the community. Mike, Stover, thank you guys for working through Riverside. We will keep doing this every Wednesday, every Friday. Be the show, not the commercial. Thank you guys. Have a safe and successful trip. We're going to be doing more content, obviously, about trade shows. We are all showing up in real life. We do it virtually. But thank you guys. Great topic today. And we hope you have an awesome Friday. Thank you all.
Thanks for being here.
Bye. Great show today. Bye.
Good job, everybody.
We did it. We didn't shut the internet down. We tried really hard in the beginning.
Yes.
In the beginning, it was nice and challenging. That's how we like it.
Awesome job.
Great job. Yeah. Great stuff. I love the screen share, Elizabeth. More screen share.
That was so cool.
Yeah, that
Elizabeth.
was cool.
I have a question, Elizabeth, before you go.